Greetings exiles and welcome to our best and most powerful Righteous Fire build to date. We have had many Righteous Fire builds on this channel throughout the past years. Some of them were tanky, and some had big AoE, and some were budget. But today we go further beyond, as this time we have a perfect variation of Righteous Fire, one with massive AoE, extreme speed and around 20 million damage. We are also immune to elemental elements, got capped chaos resistance, and have physical damage reduction equal to 7.5 endurance charges. Of course it's not going to be cheap, but nonetheless, I hope you all enjoyed this video. So as usual, we begin with our Ascendancy. We are an Elementalist, for many reasons. The first one is Golem support, which we have talked about many times in previous videos. We have 3 Golems in this build, each having over 200% increased effect. This makes Golems like Fire Golem gives us 60% increased damage, and Chaos Golem giving us 15% physical damage reduction. That's almost 4 endurance charges by itself. We also got our Golems to be immune to elemental damage with Elemencer Ascendancy node, basically having 100% uptime on their bonuses, since most sources of damage in this game are elemental, which means that you don't have to deal with these anymore. This means that you don't need to micromanage your Golems, since they also resurrect upon death after 4 seconds. From here we take Mastermind of Discord. This node allows our exposures to almost delete the entire elemental resistances of all Path of Exile bosses, and we do have many ways to inflict exposure in this build. Last but not least, we got Heart of Destruction. This node gives us 60% increased area of effect in passive mode, and once we hit a unique enemy, that bonus is replaced by 30% more elemental damage for 4 seconds. And when you are dealing 20 million damage a second, this bonus should last long enough for you to deal with any endgame boss no problem. And yeah, that was it for our Ascendancy. Next, for our passive tree, we got one that focuses on fire damage, area of effect, life, but most importantly, life regen. We have so much life regen that we almost regenerate our entire life every second in this build. Now once you are high level enough, consider investing into 2 large cluster jewels that adds the minimum amount of elemental damage passives. These add some powerful notables like Widespread Destruction, Burning Bright, and Master of Fire. Next we branch off into 2 medium cluster jewels. Both of them adds the following notables: Burning Bright and Flow of Life. And that was it for our passive tree and its cluster jewels. Now let's talk about items. For our chest, we have a rare Val chest with elevated Explode, Crusader mod, and +1 level of socketed gems. Explode is not necessary when playing Righteous Fire, but it looks nice when combined with Herald of Ash MTXs. Anyway, we also have life, chaos resistance, and life regen if possible. Our next item is an Elder Helm with socketed gems are supported with both concentrated effect and burning damage support. We also have life and socketed gems deal 30% more elemental damage if possible. It's highly recommended that you try and craft something like this on a base that has increased Righteous Fire area of effect enchant. Our next item is Ashes of the Stars unique amulet. This is a very strong item and pretty much the cheapest one in this build. However, it's not best in slot option, as you should aim to get a rare amulet with +2 gems whenever you can afford it. Don't forget to anoint Golem's blood on your amulet for that extra defensive boost. Our next item is a rare ring with life, chaos resistance, area of effect, +1 to minimum endurance charges, and aspect of the spider. The best way to craft something like this is to chaos spam the prefixes and then craft the suffixes separately. Our second ring is pretty similar to the first one. It has life, area of effect, chaos resistance, +1 to minimum frenzy and endurance charges. Frenzy charges are not that useful for damage overtime builds, but still, they will give you the highest amount of damage possible for a single modifier. Our next item is our weapon. We have a mirror tier staff with tier 1 fire damage overtime multiplier, +2 to level of all spell skill gems, +3 to level of all fire spell skill gems, and generic damage overtime multiplier. Ironically, this staff was not made for Righteous Fire builds, but rather for Discharge. But alas, it still works pretty nicely in this build due to its extra gem levels. Ideally, you want to get 2 mirror tier scepters with similar modifiers for maximum damage. Anyway, our next item is a pair of gloves with both elevated fire damage overtime multiplier and elevated increased damage overtime. I combined both mods with an Awakener's Orb and got pretty lucky by hitting 17% increased life regeneration rate and an empty prefix which I used to craft life. The rest of the mods don't really matter here. Next on the list we have a pair of boots with tier 1 movement speed, life, resistances, and increased life regeneration rate. Try to craft the implicits on your boots using the new Eldritch currencies and aim for increased action speed and life regeneration per endurance charge if possible. It's not really that hard to get. Just remember to enchant your boots with even more movement speed once you have time. Last but not least we have Mageblood in our belt slot. We mostly use this to maintain 100% uptime on our movement flask. We are also running every single elemental flask in this build, which greatly reduces all elemental damage we take from all sources, including Righteous Fire. Although with that being said, this item is by no means mandatory and can be replaced with any other good Stygian vice that has life, percentage life, and as many resistances as possible. But yeah, that was it for our items. Now let's talk about gems that goes inside of them. For our main 6 link we have Righteous Fire, Awakened Elemental Focus, Awakened Burning Damage, Awakened Increased Area of Effect, Empower, and Efficacy. Next we have a pseudo 7 link setup that goes in our helm. It contains Flame Wall, Awakened Elemental Focus, Awakened Control Destruction, and level 17 life tap support. Our next gem setup contains our golems. These are Stone Golem, Chaos Golem, Flame Golem, and level 3 enhanced support. Please note that all of our golem gems have anomalous quality in order to maximize their bonuses specifically above 200%. Just make sure to try and get your Chaos Golem to level 23 or higher in order to get 1% additional physical damage reduction from the gem. Our next gem setup contains our primary reservation gems. These include but not limited to Malevolence, level 21 Vitality, Herald of Ash, and Phase Run. You can potentially link your Phase Run with level 1 Arcane Surge if you have 15% increased area of effect while affected by Arcane Surge built enchant on your belt. Anyway, last but not least we got a 3-link support setup. It starts with Wave of Conviction, Awakened Hex Touch, and Flammability. It's important to have at least one skill that can hit the enemy in order to trigger Heart of Destruction in our Ascendancy. We also get to apply Exposure and Flammability curse along the way, which is neat. But yeah, that was it for our gems. Now let's talk about jewels. For our Watcher's Eye, we have increased damage over time multiplier while affected by Malevolence, and increased life recovery rate while affected by Vitality. We also have one Unnatural Instinct unique jewel. Place it in this specific socket to maximize your area of effect. Any remaining jewel socket we have left should be filled with a normal rare jewel like this one. We have 7 identical copies of this jewel, each having life, burning damage, fire damage, and increased damage over time. Feel free to get additional elemental resistances on your jewels if you still need them. Next, for Bandit's quest, we decided not to help any of them as we really need these precious passive points. As for Pantheons, we got the Soul of the Brine King for its freeze immunity, and the Soul of Garou Khan for reduced shock effect on us. And yeah, that was it for our Mirror Tier Righteous Fire build for this league. If you guys have enjoyed this video and maybe want to see more, then consider subscribing to the channel, as it really helps motivating me into making more build guides like these. My name is Phoenix and I will see you all in the next video.